Hey, good morning guys. Welcome back to the Stratos 201 Rehab project. Today we're talking about gel coat mistakes and how I fixed it. So stick around. Okie dokie. So the first day that we did gel coat, the moon dust, I made 3 mistakes. And I figured I'd just get them all out of the way on the first time. Because as you've seen in a couple of previous videos where it wasn't setting hard, and then we tried PVA, and then left the PVA on for a couple days. So then Friday I took the PVA off, soap and water, and then the light pressure wash. And then yesterday I went around and I was just trying to get some of the brush marks out with sandpaper, and I discovered that it still had not cured because it was gumming up the sandpaper. Let me find a piece. So if your sandpaper looks like this, whatever you're sanding is not hard. There was no dust coming off. It was gumming up the sandpaper. I could still scratch it, and it's like, alright, I'm tired of playing this game. Let's fix it. Now, before I tell you how I fixed it, I'm going to tell you the mistakes I made. So the first off is when you get, and this is a gallon, you also get a little bottle of MEKP to catalyze the gel coat, and on the back it gives you mixing instructions, and on Total Boat's data sheets, which I had, it gave mixing instructions. And now I like to think I'm pretty good at math. I got an engineering background, been in construction for 37-ish years. Apparently last Saturday my math brain had shut down because I was doing the calculations to mix the catalyst. Now they say 2% is optimal at 77 degrees and a low relative humidity. That day it was in the mid 80s, so I wanted to back down closer to 1% just to give us some more working time. And when I did the math, I confused myself, and I'll tell you why in a minute, and wound up mixing it at under 1% catalyst. That's the whole reason that these first 2 coats of moon dust weren't hardening, and then the next day we changed the ratio, and I still didn't get the 2%, but I got closer to 2%, and the black came out great. Here's the problem that I had. The directions for mixing include cups, ounces, teaspoons, and drops, and doing conversions to try to get the right percentages, I messed it up. Now the easy solution to the problem, which I figured out, actually I didn't figure it out, Todd on his way back to Maryland was thinking, he had 14 hours to think, he called me and said, dude, here's what we did, and he was right. So the solution, instead of trying all that complicated math with imperial units, these cheap mixing cups that I bought from Amazon for they're like 50 cents a piece, they have milliliters on them. So milliliters is just real math. And what I started doing, instead of mixing, which we were mixing 16 ounces in these first coats, which is the second mistake I made. Instead of mixing that much, well, even if you're mixing 16 ounces, don't mix 16 ounces. Mix 450 milliliters, because that's easy math. If you want 1% of 450 milliliters, it's 4.5 milliliters. If you want 2% of 450 milliliters, it's 9 milliliters. Now, how do you find small millimeter measurements? Here's how. I had these already. These are disposable syringes. I bought them to use with epoxies doing some custom stuff with epoxies in the rod shop where I build custom rods. I have a box of these. And the easy way, if you can hold on to stuff, is this syringe fits perfectly in the top of there, the dispensing for drops, and you just pull the milliliters you need using a syringe. Not that hard to do. Inject it into your mix. You're perfect every time. That was mistake number one. I did make that mistake yesterday. This is how we did it yesterday. Syringe, milliliters, everything is mixed properly. The other mistake I made, well, mistake number two, is we mixed too much at once and we're having to hustle to get it down before it cooked off. What that did was we left a lot of brush marks. Now you can't really see them now because I got rid of most of them yesterday when I was fixing it. And again, I'll tell you how I did that in a minute. But only mix about 300-ish milliliters, 8 ounces. That's how much I could get down by myself yesterday with no problem before it started to set. Now the other mistake we made, and this one wasn't necessarily my fault, but I did it, so I'm gonna take credit for it. We're using the wrong roller cover. Everything that I had read for rolling and tipping gel coat, they said 3/8 snap roller, Badger hairbrush, but here's the problem. Now that may work great if you're doing an area this big. If you're doing a boat with several hundred square feet of surface area that needs to be gel coated, especially a bass boat that has 14 different radiuses, lips, contours, that's too much gel coat at one time to get down. Also, I found from the Eastwood company these Optiflow roll-on paint system small rollers. Now these are designed for the automotive repair industry, and it's for primer, but it's a 2-part primer that has a catalyst. These actually hold up. Now this is a 6-inch by 1-inch diameter roller cover, and with mixing 300 milliliters, I had about, at 2%, I had about 15 minutes working time. These held up the entire 15 minutes. And to see how long they would hold it past that, I went over here to my sample board and I rolled some more on a piece of plywood just to see how long they hold up. They're great. They are about $2 a piece. They're one use only, but they don't swell, they don't come apart, they don't start leaving foam pieces in your gel coat. So mix it correctly, mix a small amount, use the correct roller brush, because the thing about this is putting this down, all you get is a really small orange peel from this roller. Now I did put multiple thin coats instead of a thick coat and try to roll and tip it, but with this roller I was able to put it down almost smooth. Gel coat you still have to sand no matter what. But so let's talk about what I did to get it ready to fix. After I had stripped the PVA off and stripped the wax off and the sandpaper started doing this, I realized I still had a major problem. Then it was time to strip it. Now, in talking to Charlotte at Total Boat, we were talking about, prep between gel coats, and I had bought the de-waxer and surface prep solvent wash, and I said, so I use that, and she goes, no, that's too harsh. Between coats of gel coat, just use acetone. And so while I'm sitting there sanding away and frustrated with this, I mean, it wasn't all this way, but a lot of it was this soft. I'm like, all right, so if this is too harsh just to prep between coats, it's got to be plenty strong to get uncured gel coat off the boat, and that worked perfectly. The only thing I will say about that is that you must have a respirator on, because this stuff is extremely harsh. The VOCs coming off will burn your... I had a respirator on, and then finally had to go get my full face respirator because I was getting what felt like a sunburn, which is obviously a chemical burn, on my face. And you don't throw your rags in a trash can. What I did is I just pitched them over here and let them finish airing out, and in fact they're still over here. It's recommended to throw them in a bucket of water, but I figured I'd let them air out, and then I'll soak them down today, and then I'll put them in the trash the day before it goes out of here. So going all the way around the boat. In fact, I mostly just worked on the cap yesterday because that's all I wanted to re-gel coat. That's the area that's slowing down the hanging of the rest of the stuff on the boat. Is from the rub rail up. I went around the boat, a heavy coat of de-waxer in my rag, and it was just stripping gel coat off. It was coming out yellow, where it was taking all the soft gel coat out. I mean, you can see there is gel coat in this rag. So anyway, that's how I prepped it. Wiped it down, and then I went back to mixing correctly, mixing smaller batches, using this roller. And now, if I hadn't, like in some areas, you can probably see the brush lines where I was trying to roll and tip in the first two coats, that some of it did cure and stayed on. About half of it honestly stayed on the boat. The other half that wasn't cured, I wound up stripping off with the surface prep. I got down to a hard sandable finish, and I knew I was going to have to sand this boat at least 2 more times. So I didn't try to get everything smooth, and by using this roller and 4 coats, and it was back to back coats, and I was only doing half the cap at once with the 300 milliliters, waiting for it to be fingerprint tacky, and then put another coat on. The boat really starting to look nice. So I'm gonna let this cure another day or 2. You should be able to work on it in 24 hours, but I don't want to push it. I got other things that I need to do today anyway. Those are the mistakes I made, and that's the way I figured out how to fix them. Now, this boat's still going to get it's going to get a light sanding after this cures to take the heavy brush marks out, and then I'm probably going to put 2 more thin coats on and do a wet sand to get it really smooth before we start with flake and then clear. Today, I'm actually going to be gel coating the inside of the live wells and the compartments with the white gel coat with wax using these rollers, I think. I've got some other foam rollers I want to try that are much cheaper. So I'll mix up a small amount and see how it does in one of the compartments. Because I need a shorter, like 4-inch roller to get these curves and everything inside the compartments done. So I'm going to try that. We'll see how it works. If it doesn't work, I'll go back to the 6-inch because these only come in 6. In fact, I ordered another 40 of them yesterday, so I'll have them on stock because sometimes it's hard to find them. But today we're doing white gel coat in the compartments. I'm doing Gator Glide on the transom and part of the splash well on the Z20. And then we're going to start prepping the black gel coat and taping off for another second coat of black on the interior of the boat. So that's today's plans. Y'all stick around. Well, that's it for day, whatever day this is. I am so tired. It's 5. I've been out here for 10 hours now, screwing around with stuff. I spent most of the day on the Z20, just trying to get stuff done. I did spend a few hours. I got 3 coats of white gel coat in the live wells. So the live wells are the first thing really that is done that I don't have to touch again. That's a milestone. I mean, we still got to put the recirc and the drain fittings in, but as far as I'm concerned, it's done. You know, we got like 10 minutes of silicone and screwing in plastic fittings, and that thing is complete. We focused over there most of the day. I did get some cleanup done in here. I was running parts. I was doing all kinds of stuff today, but we took the old donor jack plate, which is a Bob's jack plate that came on it from Ranger. We had to steal the splash plate off to put on the new jack plate over there because that one didn't come with a splash plate for some reason. And I needed it to mount the side imaging transducer on because I don't like drilling holes in the bottom of a boat, especially after I just patched, 14 or 15 of them under there. I don't want any more holes in it. So that's done. I finished up the Gator Glide and some other things, but this boat, coming back on this boat tomorrow, rain Wednesday, and then back on it full scale on Thursday. I think I've got the gel coat problem solved. This stuff is super hard. I like it. Lessons learned about gel coat. Without it being too catastrophic, it didn't cost much money. It just cost a bunch of time. Cost me a couple days. But we'll survive it. Anyway, that's it for the Stratos for today. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.